Humans of the Cardboard, we are back. Sorry we missed the news from the last week. I am getting it all cut up today. I'm recording everything today. Going to be released today and tomorrow. This will be Saturday, Sunday, whenever this comes out. But yeah, going through it all. We've got the new Yubel support to talk about today. Very, very interesting. There's some cool stuff here. This is exactly what we prophesized as soon as we saw that the name of this archetype was Phantom Nightmare. The first thing we said was Yubel. We also theorized potentially Phantom Knights. Who knows? I don't think Phantom Knights anymore because normally the name of a core set really only talks about the main cover card and support, but not really anything else in the set. So everything else is completely up in the air, which includes new archetypes, support for older archetypes. That stuff can be anything, but we do know the Yubel support. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we got going on. This is Spirit of Yubel. We start off with a brand new monster. This is a level 10 Dark Fiend effect monster. 0 attack, 0 defense. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. The first effect reads, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, needs the opponent to attack, which I don't love that it relies on your opponent, but like at some point your opponent's got to attack, so okay. Second, and it's a hand trap, so you could just hard draw it and your opponent wouldn't even know it's there. They wouldn't play around it necessarily in a lot of instances, especially if they don't know what you're playing yet. Cool. Second effect of this card is special summoned. You can take a spell or trap from your deck that mentions Yubel and either add it to your hand or set it. I like that we can set stuff. That means potentially setting a trap to get it live for your opponent's turn if you're summoning on your turn, or on your opponent's turn to make it live on your turn. Still cool, because I think there is a new trap card here. I also like that it's any card that lists Yubel in its text, so that's cool. That definitely widens broadens the horizon for what this can get access to. Cool, it's a +1. Third effect, cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage involving this card. Cool. Makanko text kind of thing. And fourth effect, if this card is destroyed, you can special summon one of your Yubel that is banished or in your hand, deck, or graveyard. So that's really nice as well. Just getting access to regular Yubel and then translating that into more of what your strategy wants to do. Pretty cool. I mean, it's a floater. It is. It has protection. It is a +1 and it extends itself. I think that's just a straight up good card, especially since I think the deck has other ways to access it as well, aside from needing that first effect to summon. So that's not even like a huge deal. That just gives it a little more utility, even if you hard draw it. Very cool. Good start. Moving on from there, we have a new Grinder Golem card. This is Geist Grinder Golem. This card looks cool. I thought Grinder Golem was so cool, and I totally understand why they banned it, because that card was broken as hell. Still is. But I still thought it was cool when I saw it, like at the beginning of the Link era. But yeah, let's get into it. Level 8 Dark Fiend. So, okay, cool. 3,000 attack, 300 defense. You can only special summon this guy once per turn. You can reveal one Yubel monster in your hand. Special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field. Then you can special summon the revealed monster to your field. Second effect, once per turn during damage calculation, if this card battles a Yubel monster, your opponent gains 3,000 life points. And third effect, if you special summon Yubel while this card is in your graveyard, special summon this card to your opponent's field. So basically, we are playing Mikanko here. This deck really has hard Mikanko vibes to me. This card is essentially sort of like a kaiju for you. It doesn't actually remove an opponent's body, but you give them a 3,000 body, and then when you attack with like some of these protected and boosted cards, your opponent takes any damage you would take. So you're attacking with a 3k monster, so you're dealing them 3k over and over again, sometimes even doubled. And on top of that, it has this extension effect to potentially get one of the Yubel monsters out of your hand. This is another card that helps you kind of just get the Spirit of Yubel pulled out, trigger it, get a search, go on from there. Very cool. And then even from grave. So to me, this seems like a staple one of in the deck most likely. You don't want to like hard draw this too often, but having access to it, having it as a search target could be really handy to be able to get those spirits out of the hand and also just set up a 3k body to punch your opponent with. Is really cool. Plus, it also makes like it pretty cool that probably gives you a good chance to win in time with a card like this. So cool. But yeah, nice card for them. Next up, we have Samsaara Regenerating Lotus. This is a level 1 Dark Fiend effect monster. 0 attack, 0 defense. 3 hard ones per turn effects. You contribute this card to special summon a Yubel monster from your deck. Again, another card that gives you access to Spirit to then get its +1 and go off from there. Cool. Second effect, during your opponent's turn, when a monster effect is activated while you control a Yubel monster, quick effect, tribute this card. That effect becomes destroy one Yubel monster on the field. So essentially it's a monster negate, but considering most of the time you're just going to control a Yubel, you just pop her, the Spirit at least, and then when she's destroyed, you summon a regular Yubel straight from deck. So it's essentially a monster negate at that point. And the third effect, during your end phase, if you control Yubel, and this card is in the graveyard, you can take this card and either add it to your hand or special summon it. This effect is like weird to me. I don't like that this is Yubel specifically. This should be Yubel monster, I feel like, and this card would have been so good. I still think it's good. I just think it could have been like incredibly good because like you're ending on Spirit pretty consistently, but you're not always ending on Yubel, especially not that first turn. You kind of need to like get this popped first, get this destroyed, and then float off of it to get there. But still a good card, right? This is a Lone Fire Blossom that also is a monster negate and could potentially just come back, kind of like Rika Princess, which is very, very cool. Not Rika Princess, right? Rika... I think of the Rika Petal. That's what I'm thinking of. But still cool to see. Still a really cool card. Good starter for them, for sure. I like it. Next up here, we have Yubel. Das Ewig Lieb Wachster. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm doing my best. Level 12 Dark Fiend effect monster, of course. This guy, level 12 Dark Fiend. 0/0. Love those 0/0 stats. This card requires one Yubel monster plus one or more effect monsters on the field. Do you hear what we're saying? This is an insane super poly target. That means as long as you can put a Yubel on the field, a super poly clears as many monsters you want off the field. Insane. You can only use the first effect once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each material used for its summon. So that would be at least 1,000, but depending on how much you're clearing off the field, that could be upwards of 2,500 potentially. 3,000, right? That's pretty powerful for sure. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. Pretty cool. Just can't be destroyed and you're safe from damage. Pretty nice. And the third effect of this card, battles an opponent's monster. At the end of the damage step, inflict damage to them equal to that monster's attack. And if you do, banish it. So very cool. That's a pretty decent monster removal and dealing them damage. So on summon, you're dealing them damage. Then you're also attacking something to deal them even more damage and banish that monster as well. Seems pretty good to me. Moving on, some spells. We have Nightmare Pain. This is a continuous spell card. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. During your main phase, you can destroy a dark monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, add one Yubel or one card that mentions it from deck to hand. That is really good. I love that this pops in hand. I know it's only dark monsters, but in a deck like this, I'm assuming you're playing a good amount of dark monsters anyway, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. That should not be a huge problem. Plus, if you're able to like pop Spirit of Yubel, you still float even if you destroy it in hand, because it says if it's just destroyed, period, not destroyed on field or anything. So that's really cool. Second effect, while you control any Yubel monsters, all opponents must attack them if able. So very cool. You can kind of force them into dealing themselves damage, I guess, at certain instances, which is cool. And your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving your Yubel monsters instead. So perfect. Gives you that ability to just summon a bunch of 0 attack point monsters, attack into their bigger monsters, and just kill them with that extra damage Mikanko style. Very cool. Next up, we have Mature Chronicle. This is a continuous spell. You can only use the second effect once per turn. Each time a Yubel monster or monsters and/or monsters that mention Yubel is special summoned, place one Chronicle counter on this card. You can remove up to 5 Chronicle counters from cards you control to activate one of these effects. Just gives you a bunch of utility here. It's a cool grindy card. It's as continuous, so you can't use it on your opponent's turn, unfortunately, but summon a Yubel from grave, add one of your banished cards to hand, generically just any banished card, banish a card from deck, destroy a card on the field non-targeting, or add a super poly from your deck to your hand. Very, very cool effects here. This to me is probably just a one-of, like when you already have something like Nightmare Pain or something, you're probably using this as your search off of the Spirit of Yubel when you kind of already have everything else, because it can potentially just get you Super Poly or get you one of these removal effects when you just summon enough, Yubel monsters, which is cool. But it doesn't seem crazy to me. It seems like a card that needs a good amount of setup. You're not going for it every time, but it could come up to give you a good push. And the last card we have here is a new trap card. This is Eternal Favorite, a continuous trap. Once per turn, you can activate one of these effects, but you can only use each of the following effects of this card's name once per turn. One of these effects, but you can only use each of the following effects of this card's name once per turn. What? So I don't understand. Is this like one of those... This is one of those really weird wordings where it says once per turn activate one of these effects. That would imply you only get one or the other. But then it says you can only use each effects of the following effects once per turn. Huh? Oh, what? I'm so confused. All right, whatever. This is like worded so weird. I hate how this is worded. Please try to explain to me in the comments like how this is supposed to work. But yeah, special summon one of your Yubel monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. Neither player can activate cards or effects when it is special summoned. Okay, so it just extends the Yubel. Cool. If you control Yubel, discard one card and send this face-up card from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard to fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from either field as material, including a Yubel. So this essentially becomes an extra super poly to kind of help clear stuff off your opponent's field to go ahead and make your new Yubel fusion. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Okay, so... Again, I'm just still a little bit confused. I'm guessing you can only use one of them per turn. I don't know why it gives you this, like, this bracket text here. I don't understand. Like, it kind of seems counterintuitive, but whatever. I'm just going to assume you can do one or the other, because if you could do both, it'd be insane. Because you would be able to just buy this card and a card in hand, put a Yubel on field, and then super poly the entire board away. But that seems a little bit too strong. So... yeah, my guess is you just get one or the other. But either way, it's really, really good because even if it just like turn after turn, you just keep summoning like a spirit back and getting a summon and getting a search seems pretty good. And then eventually you're able to use this second effect. That's pretty good as well. All in all, it's cool. To me, it feels like it's going to be worse overall than Mikanko, but it probably wants to opt second because of Super Poly, because this deck really seems like it needs the battle phase to kind of push and deal your opponent that damage. Definitely feels like it's Mikanko-esque. Very, very similar in terms of like what their win condition is, but I just think Mikankos are a little more consistent overall in how they get to that setup and protecting themselves. But Super Poly is a hell of a card. I could see this deck actually getting like some regional tops here and there because just people aren't ready for Super Poly in a format. You know what I mean? That's why like Heroes can sometimes, mess people up as with like Super Poly stuff in the main deck. So we'll see. Still very cool. Still very curious to see what your guys' thoughts are on this. If you think I'm off basis on this, if you think I need to adjust some of my expectations, please let me know in the comment section down below here. But thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not yet and you want to stay up to date on all things Yu-Gi-Oh! News. I have one more video catching me up for all of the news I missed over the last week while I was away. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.